Hello, everyone. So, originally I had shot a part two of the Druid video, and then I watched it and I decided that I hate it. So, this is not going to be a pagan video because, in the meantime, I was following politics as usual, like a drug addict, because now it's turned into Jersey Shore, basically. And I wanted to comment. This video is kind of my frustration at the short sightedness of centrists and kind of more responsible, pragmatic Democrats who think that politics is still in the 80s. So, my favorite candidate, you probably know if you're watching me, is Marianne Williamson, and she was just in the debates. And I will be honest, she did not do as well as I thought she would, and as well as she can do. However, she said some things in the debate that were so not the typical political rhetoric that she's gained a lot of traction. And I think Republicans have found her very funny, so they're making memes out of her, some of the things she said, and it's gone viral, basically. Anyway, so she's getting a lot of media attention. And I think that in terms of the Google searchability, search terms, the most searched term after the debates, she won that. Now, I'm hearing a lot of. They've been saying this actually the whole time that she is unelectable. And I don't mind if Republicans say that. But I think that the Democrats who think that Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren can beat Trump using only policy have not been watching American history up to now. Because you have to realize, in the days of not Reagan, not Bush, in the days of, I don't know, Jimmy Carter, or like before basically we became a media obsessed nation, all the policies were what elected you, because it was a kind of word of mouth thing, and your face wasn't everywhere. People were not focused on personality. But I'm sorry to tell everyone, I know that everyone thinks that they have mental autonomy over their emotional gut reactions to things, but I genuinely do think that when people are voting, especially when they spend a lot of time responding to technology that is geared toward impressing you, attracting you, and making you think that something is attractive, interesting, or disgusting, because that's equally as valuable. If you think that you can just override that with mind over matter, you're kidding yourself. There were people, they did focus groups on people who voted for Trump, and half of them didn't even know why they did. They were mad at Hillary partly, but it's also the fact that he's extremely unforgettable and he's funny. I'm sorry, I watch him myself, and I don't like his policies or what he stands for or anything, but he's so fucking funny that I watch him all the time, like the stuff he says about Kim Jong-un and all of that kind of thing. And they think that they're going to run Elizabeth Warren with her math teacher voice, or Joe Biden with his, send me to Washington and I'll get it done. That's not a match for that. That's not a match for the amazing orange Tourette's syndrome man with the bizarre toupee that looks like it was made on another planet. I'm sorry, you cannot top that with a regular guy in a suit. You can't. And so what I'm saying to Democrats is Marianne Williamson actually ticks all the boxes that you want. She's got more policies than any other candidate on that stage, apart from Andrew Yang, who, by the way, is also a very good candidate. So she actually is completely practical. And you want, I mean, they're all talking policy as if, oh, to be president, you have to know policy. You have to be able to, you should have experience in the Senate and you should have experience in Congress. Bullshit. You do not need experience in Congress to be president. It's a completely different job. The president's job is primarily, you think she's not going to have senators and people with senatorial experience around her who have that kind of knowledge, who can tell her like, oh, this is how the funds work and this is da da da. Like all of that is going to be explained to her in a way that she understands. What I like about her is that she's not brainwashed by the old boys club where everybody's making deals and it's this like kind of corrupt system. We know it's a corrupt system where you can have healthcare, but we're gonna add on stricter immigration policy, or like there's all this stuff that goes on, and they think that that works, and I don't think it does. So I actually think that it to have a fresh pair of eyes in the White House will actually be good, and you do not have to take Donald Trump as the example for that. Oh, look, we tried that and it failed. Because Donald Trump is Donald fucking Trump. Like, the man has never had the slightest inkling to care about anyone else but his own career. So let's not conflate that and say, oh, what's so terrible about Donald Trump is that he had no experience in the Senate. That's not the problem. Hello. Second of all, so she ticks all the boxes on that. She ticks all the boxes on visibility. She already has a huge following of people who know who she is through her books. She's extremely entertaining on stage, even if, like, in a serious way as well as a comedic way. Like, not just, her saying to Jacinda Ardern, like, girlfriend, you're so on, which was very funny. And seemingly to a lot of people who saw it ridiculous. But it's not that ridiculous, actually. If, to appeal to people's sense of competitiveness for something that's actually worth doing instead of the usual American bullshit of rah, 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 we have the biggest weapons. So in that sense, I actually think that what she said was, perfectly reasonable thing to say. Now, all of the other guys on the stage at the debates were getting bogged down in arguments about how to do healthcare. And I know that healthcare is an extremely important issue for Americans. And the Democrats have this idea that they should harness this policy. And that will beat Donald Trump. Really? You think so? Because I have to tell you, like, the entire world is brainwashed by media, by advertising. America has basically conquered the world. The United States of America has basically conquered the world using blue jeans and Coca-Cola. And it's not because they're so great. It's because they know how to push it. So the thing is that you need something or someone who is memorable. You need someone who has some pizzazz. And it has to be a pizzazz that is more impressive, more distracting than an orange troll with Tourette's syndrome. So think about that. And also, you have to realize Donald Trump is also very emblematic of American spirit. He's very Americana. He's the stereotype of what the rest of the world thinks about America, which is not really true, but he's a kind of distilled version of that. So that's actually very hard to beat, even with someone as Americana as Joe Biden. But he's like Trump light. I mean, that's not going to beat Trump. You're not going to beat Trump with a kind of a flaccid version of Trump. Marianne Williamson is like Trump on steroids, but with a brain. So I think she's like, double the kind of grandstanding power of Trump with a much bigger vocabulary and an actual brain that understands the issues. And she has come up with policies to address all those issues, including a very difficult policy, which is the policy for reparations. Now, I have listened to a number of commentary on the reparations thing, and people are very worried that it's going to divide the country. I don't fucking know. But one thing I will say is nobody else has had the courage to come up with a plan to even deal with it. And there are a lot of Black people in America who want it because they've made a whole party around it, basically. So you have to realize the amount of momentum something like that has. And I think that she's right, that neither the money addresses the problem, nor does an empty gesture address the problem, but together, I think they can actually do quite a lot. Because it's a compounded thing, so it has moral force as well as actually providing some benefit to the descendants of slaves in America. Is it enough to make up for slavery? No, of course not. But also, the people who are alive now are not the people who were actually slaves. So it is a little bit like you can understand why it's a little bit less money than what you might think that such an atrocity would cost. Anyway, what else did I want to say about all of this crap? I was slightly irritated. I was actually at a birthday party, and then I was thinking about all this, and I was not engaging in the party in a very social way because I was completely irate. And the thing is that I've been on YouTube commenting on other people's comments and arguing with them, and I thought really what I need to do is just put the camera on and rant it randomly about it. And so this will be a Marianne Williamson video number 2, and I'm sorry about the ghost. So what else did I want to say about Marianne Williamson? Yes, so it's easy to look at her and think that she doesn't have any policies, but she does. She has all the policies. She has everything that Bernie Sanders has. And she has some of what Tulsi Gabbard has in terms of waging peace. But the one issue, and I don't know if anyone on Marianne Williamson's team ever listens to me. I feel like I've noticed some things that I've said have seemed to have gotten into her campaign somehow, which I think is probably just a coincidence. But the singular most important issue besides getting money out of politics is protecting the fourth estate. Therefore, I am saying to anyone who is running for president who thinks, that they want to adopt another issue, the issue of freeing Julian Assange is absolutely paramount. Because if you do not free Julian Assange, you have to realize all of this stuff, the whole way that you can build a grassroots campaign is dependent on the fourth estate. It's dependent on freedom of speech and freedom of the press. Without it, you're a slave to CNN and Fox. So think about it. Think about the importance of Julian Assange and what it means if they somehow come up with some new law to say that a reporter is or a journalist is some kind of anointed profession that you have to be, that there's some kind of government control of what it means to be a journalist. You don't want that shit, trust me, because then there's going to be no such thing as it won't matter if your campaign is publicly funded if no one's going to hear about you, okay? So this is why I think this is so important. And I think I've run out of my rant. So, but I will say that if you look at anything about Marianne Williamson, she has the charisma, she has the intelligence, she has the integrity, and the actual, she wants, all the things that she wants to do are good, and I think she's genuine in that, and I think everyone else believes, even her critics, that she is genuine in that. And on top of that, she actually has the largest amount of policies on her website addressing climate change, addressing healthcare, addressing race relations, which is actually way more important than people realize, addressing the Native American issue, which no other candidate has actually bothered to try and address. And and she's addressing each one specifically, giving it the dignity of having its own policy, not like this kind of sweeping, one-size-fits-all kind of policy, which I actually think is better because it shows more respect for each issue on its own merit. So that is my rant about the myopia around Marianne Williamson, especially in the Democratic Party. And I'm not even going to get into what was going on with the mics at the debates, but it was some kind of tomfoolery which did not make MSNBC look like a particularly respectable profession. You want an anointed journalistic profession? So show some fucking integrity in your profession. And that's it. I'm done. I have ranted myself into exhaustion. See you all later.